I always get caught. Oh, well, here you go. I've got caught again.
Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Mel. Oh dear.
It's so nice to be with you again.
You too. You too. Really good.
All right, so let's talk Lead to Soar for a moment. So the Lead to Soar
Yeah.
podcast, the episode we have coming out this week is a discussion that you had with someone called Joe Thomas. Could you tell us
Yes.
about Joe and this discussion?
So Joe Thomas is the CEO of the Australian Institute of Business. So she's a very important person, but she's also my friend. And so for full transparency, we've known each other for a long time, coming up for 20 years, and have worked together in a number of different capacities. But so Joe is this really amazing leader. And I've said this right from the outset, even before I met you and Susan, and we had our leadership definition. But she has got this terrific combination of high EQ and high IQ. So she's a super clever person, but she's a super people person as well. And she's just so clever. But the thing I really admire about Joe, and always have done, is she's so clear about what she's good at. And she's so clear about what she's not good at, and she's done stuff about it. So she surrounds herself with great people that help offset the things that she knows that she's frankly not interested in and quite bored with. So she's super energetic and funny, and it was a joy to interview her. And I know that our listeners they'll have a lot of fun listening to it, because we had a lot of fun recording it.
Definitely. So, dear viewer, you can find the Lead to Soar podcast on all major podcast platforms, as well as leadtosoar.com. Now, Michelle, I edited this episode, and near the end, you said something that I wanted to ask you to expound on today. Near the end of the discussion with Joe, you said work-life balance is bullshit. So, can you tell us your thoughts on that? What's going on?
I can. So, thought number one, work-life balance was coined as a term, and I learned this from Susan. Work-life balance was coined as a term in the 1970s. Now, gee whiz, what else started happening in the 1970s? A whole bunch of women started coming into the workforce in large numbers for the very first time since the war. So suddenly we've got these gender stereotypes of, hey, the woman's the caregiver, the 3 C's, as I call it: cooking, cleaning, caring. But she's also working. So, oh my goodness, Mel and Michelle, how are you going to manage all of that work and your work at home? And so the term work-life balance was coined. And I've got to tell you, until recently, not a lot of men have been interviewed about how they manage their work and their life, because men manage work and life because often they've got a wife, or they've got some significant other who is enabling their career. I have a wife. Most people know that. And she has enabled my career for the last 21 years. So anyway, I'm getting off track. But so work-life balance is very, very gendered when you look beyond it. So that's number one reason why it's bullshit. So when you're going to ask someone about work-life balance, I want you to make sure you ask in equal numbers, ask all genders in equal numbers about how they manage work-life balance if you subscribe. The second reason I don't subscribe to work-life balance, or the fact that it's bullshit, is because we've got life. We're just, I don't have Michelle Redfern, the work Michelle Redfern, we are not one-dimensional, compartmentalized humans. Well, most of us aren't. We're funny and flawed and complex, and we have a whole bunch of stuff going on in this thing that we call life. And for me, I prefer to talk about, how do I harmonize my life so it works for me? And I always use the analogy of visual, as you know, of I'm the conductor of an orchestra. Now, I'm going to show my complete lack of culture here, because I'm going to talk about a couple of instruments in an orchestra and I'm not be able to name them properly. But so you've got the string section, and you've got the drums or the percussion section, you've got the piano, and all the other bits. So you've got all these different areas in the orchestra. Sometimes there's one section playing at once and the conductor is conducting that part. Sometimes there are a couple of sections, and then there are times when the whole damn show comes together and the conductor is making sure that everyone is in harmony. I'm the conductor of my own life, and there are times when the stuff that I get paid for takes a lot of priority, and I have to have my string section, i.e. the home section or the work, the sports section or the what other social section, be quiet for a little while. There are other times when the family section is really noisy. So the work has to die down a little bit. This is the harmony. There is just not this binary life and work. There's life. And so that's why I don't buy into work-life balance, because it implies that there's a zero-sum game going on. And you know, I guess there would be people going, hang on, Michelle, you talk about your way of managing time, which is my 3/8, 8 hours for sleeping, 8 hours for working, 8 hours for other stuff. And and that implies that a fairly, well, not binary because that's one or two, but it implies a fairly rigid, but it's not. It plays into the same thing. The only must in my life is I have to have 8 hours sleep 90% of the time. The other 16 hours a day is how I have to look and try and achieve harmony. And I do that by being very military with my diary, very clear about my boundaries, very clear about my purpose, yeah, all that kind of stuff. So that's why work-life balance is bullshit.
So, okay, this is interesting, and I really like what you've described here. I love the analogy of harmony and orchestra. So work-life balance, I see it come up with young people too. Like, they ask me about it as they're going into their career, like, how do I get this magic thing of work-life balance? What would you say to those younger people? Especially, I'm thinking here, the people who are going into technical fields that may be known for their grueling pace and hours, let's say.
Well, the first thing I'd say is, what do you really want out of life? So what do you want? Now, if you want, so it's that we know that, particularly in the consulting game and the big consulting firms, there's always been this thing, this, it's a baptism of fire. You go in, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's just stuff that goes with it. So if you've made an informed choice that you're going to work in this kind of environment to achieve a career goal or a financial goal or both, suck it up, just do it. And if that's what you've decided to do, but the point is inform yourself about yourself and inform yourself about your goals. So now, again, I'm feeling a little bit duplicitous because everyone knows I'm a crap goal setter, but I have really clear purpose. I have really clear purpose about what it is that I want, how I want to live a life well lived. And yes, my work is really important. Yes, I've been a workaholic. Some would still class me as a workaholic, but I have a really purposeful, full and fulfilled life with choice. I'm clear about what impact I want to have for my family, for my finances, for my career, and for the communities and the organisations that I serve. So they need to ask themselves, am I asking this question because everyone's asking this question and it's probably the right question to ask? Or am I asking this question because I really am thinking, I was just about to say the F word then, stuff that. I don't want to be working 14 hours a day and sleeping for 6 hours a night and then kind of having 2 hours to schlep around and do whatever it is that is left over. I don't want to do that. If you don't want to do that, don't do it. But you need to make choices about
Don't be
what
an
that
attorney.
means. What was that? Sorry?
Don't be an attorney.
No. Well, but the reality is that all of us at some point in time have made some choices about our work because it was going to serve a higher purpose.
Well, and I'll just tack on to that dear viewers, if any of this is resonating, check out a video by Elizabeth Gilbert where she talks about the difference between a hobby, a job, a career, and a vocation. And I think what Michelle is describing in her later work, her work that she does now, that's her vocation. It's her purpose.
100%.
Yeah.
And there is, and your purpose will change. In my 30s, I was very, I was the breadwinner. I had 2 children to bring up. I was, and I've said this before on our podcast, what was my goal? Earn more, get up the ladder. because I knew that when I got myself into a financial position and a position of power and authority, I would have choices. And then I could decide what I could do with some more of my discretionary time. So there are times when, you know what, you are going to work really, really hard. But if you don't want to, you need to kind of think about, so how am I going to make my life harmonize?
Love it. Thank you so much, Michelle, for explaining that to us. I thought that was a really, great thing to pick up on from your interview with Joe Thomas. So everybody watching, I hope you will take some time and check out the Lead to Soar podcast.
Yes, indeedy. And Mel, I know I just want to have one more get shit done moment. So I had a get shit done moment yesterday. I have neglected the thousands of people who have subscribed to hear from me regularly over the last couple of years. And I gave myself a get shit done talking to yesterday and said, right, it's time for me to start genuinely, not just sending out emails to say I've got a course starting, what have you, but genuinely start sharing my wisdom again. So I have made a promise, a commitment, and you'll see it in your inboxes this morning in about 15 minutes, my first weekly email where I'm going to share a very short, brief blurb from me and then some other interesting stuff about how to move workplace gender equality, diversity and inclusion from conversation to action. So every week on a Tuesday morning in the Southern Hemisphere, Monday night in the North, you'll hear from me. So there you go.
I love it.
Commitment.
Thanks, Michelle. I can't wait to read it.
And on one more note, if you want to get shit done, I've got a couple of places left in my Get Shit Done course. Closes tomorrow. Also, our other Your Mantle of Leadership course closes today and tomorrow they close. I'm just putting the links in now. Please come along. 6 weeks for both of them. Really good end, tie up to the end of 2021. Can you believe it? And a good way to get shit done for 2022.
Yeah, so just a little bit more information. Those courses are both being run through A Career That Soars. So if you're an ambitious woman and you're looking to, for your mantle of leadership, if you're looking to raise your mindset and work towards taking the next step in your career, your mantle of leadership is for you. And if you're on a good track right now and you're looking for some support and actionable ways to get the right shit, get more shit done, then the Get Shit Done experience is for you.
Yes. And it's a lovely, gentle, bottom kicking course. Well, experience.
That's true. Yeah.
All righty. We're out of here, Mel. And
all right.
Thanks for your question. That was really cool. You pick up, you're really good at going, now, what did you mean by that? Because I'll do these throwaway lines and you pick up and you go, please explain. I go, okay, I will explain. So that's cool. Hope you benefited, viewers, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.